Hi, today I'm going to show you how to crochet this drawstring tarot bag, and I do have some variants at the end of the video to help you with this basic pattern and to elevate it if you wish to do so. All you're gonna need is a skein of yarn. I already used this twice, so it's thin, and a 5mm hook, a 4mm hook, and then what I think is called a darning needle, or it's just a needle to sew up the sides of the bag. So let's get started. I assume that you have a little bit of knowledge of crochet when you get in here, but if you don't, I'm just gonna try to explain it as best as I can. But if you don't, I'll link a video down below that goes over at least the stitches that you're gonna need for this tutorial. I'm gonna leave quite a bit of string here because we're gonna use it to sew up the sides of the bag. I'm gonna do a magic loop here, I think it's called. Put in my size 5mm crochet hook. And what I'm gonna do for the size of this bag, this is the size that I've been making for a while, and that is the size of the bag that I sell in my Etsy shop, and this is going to be 17 chains. So now I have my chain of 17, and I always like to measure it because this is going to turn out a little bit wider than it is right now, but I know the width of a standard tarot deck tarot card is 7 centimeters, so that is this side, so I will have enough to wrap around the sides of the deck. And what we're going to do for row 2 is what we're going to do until the very end. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to skip the first stitch from the hook, I'm going to put a half double crochet in the second loop from the hook, and what we're going to do now is a stitch that we're going to use for basically the entire bag. So we're going to skip one chain and then put one single crochet and then a half double crochet in the second chain, so right there. And that is what we're going to do for the rest of the row. So I'm going to skip one, and then in the second chain I'm going to put a single crochet and a half double crochet. Skip one, then a single crochet and a half double crochet. Skip one and then single crochet and half double crochet. I'm gonna do that until the very last stitch is open. So only the last stitch is left, and we're gonna put one half double crochet in there. And then we're gonna do one chain for our turning chain, turning our work, then half double crochet in the first stitch. And now we have these openings, and it's in these openings here that we're gonna put the single crochet and half double crochet. I do not know what this stitch is called. If you have any idea what this stitch is called, let me know. For now, we're gonna call it the blossom stitch. So I'm just going to do the blossom stitch all the way for row 2, and then in the last opening here I'm gonna put a single crochet and half double crochet, and then in the last stitch here we're gonna do another half double crochet. And we're gonna do one more row of the blossom stitch, and then we're gonna do something different and put in one last half double crochet for what I'm just gonna call row 3. This is what we have so far, and this is going to be the top part of the bag where you have the little frill. So if you want a bigger frill, then feel free to add rows. I wouldn't do more than like 5 rows of frill. I think 5 is going to be overkill, but 4 might be fun too. I prefer 3. So after 3 rows of the blossom stitch, we're going to do chain 1, turn, and then we're gonna do all half double crochet, so just in the first stitch. And then we have this stitch here that we're gonna put in half double crochet, then in that opening, and then again in that stitch and in that opening, and we're gonna do half double crochets for row 4. And this row of half double crochet is gonna make it easier for us to put our drawstring in at the end. So now we're gonna do chain 1, turn our work in the first stitch, gonna put a half double crochet, and now we're gonna do the blossom stitch again. So we're gonna skip one stitch and put a single crochet and half double crochet. In the next one, skip one and then a single crochet and half double crochet in the next, and we're going to continue that on for the entire row. And if you make a mistake along the way, you can tell, because maybe you don't have another, like a last stitch left for your half double crochet, so you'll know that you messed it up like I just did. So basically for the rest of the pattern, we just continue doing rows of blossom stitches until it is time to do the row for the drawstring again. So the formula for this pattern is basically 3 rows of blossom stitches, then 1 row of half double crochets, and then row 5 until row 40 are all blossom stitches. One little tip that I do have to keep track of your rows is to put a stitch marker in each 10th row. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. So I'm just going to put a marker here in row 10 so that I know that I am now at 10 rows and I can more easily keep track of when I hit row number 40. I just finished up row 40 here. I have my stitch markers here, and I already did my turning chain. We are now going to do 1 row of all half double crochet again. I had to do this whole bit over because I messed up my 3rd row, and I figured that out when I was at row 20, so that was fun. That just shows that you know, even though I've already made over 10, maybe even over 20 bags, you can still mess up and it's fine. My last half double crochet, now all that's left to do is to do 3 more rows of the blossom stitch, and then I'm gonna fasten off. Now we are at the end of the last row. We do have 1 string of yarn here on this side, so now I'm gonna cut a longer piece of yarn on the other side. I'm just gonna pull it through. So now we have this on both sides. I'm gonna take out my stitch markers and it is time to sew up the sides. I just use this normal, I don't know, big needle. I used to have one a size smaller. I actually used to have 2 a size smaller, but I lost both. And I don't know how, because they are probably in my house, but I am putting the needle like right in the corner there. And because this one is on this corner, it's gonna pull it tight like that. I'm just gonna re-enter that from the other side, and that is sort of how I sew this shut. I'm gonna take like this because it's easier for me to sew this way, and I'm just gonna find loops to go back and forth and to pull it tight. Ooh, I don't have a specific way of sewing up the sides. I just take the loops that I can find, 1 loop on each side, and sewing it like that. There are fancier ways of sewing these together probably, and if you know a better way, just do that. And now that I'm at the end here, I'm just gonna thread in the yarn just like that, and then when I think I threaded it enough, I just go like, the yarn is coming out right here. I'm just gonna go back a little bit, pull it through, and then now the end is sticking out from the inside, and that is where I snip it off. I leave a little bit because if it stretches, it's not coming out the other side. Now I'm just going to do the other side. The bag is the right side out, and I'm gonna grab my 4mm hook, and I'm just gonna do a chain. I never count this, to be honest. I'm gonna show you how long I make them, but I am just going to chain, and because we're using a smaller hook, the chain is going to be much tighter than what it would be with a 5mm hook, so I'm just going to chain a chain that is long enough to wrap all the way around. So I'm going to take the ends together and take a look at how long it is. I think it is long enough, so I'm gonna snip off the end here and then pull the yarn through. I'm gonna take my big needle again, and I don't have a specific method necessarily for the drawstring, but we know that we made the row of half double crochets, and that is this row right here. So I'm just going to take the needle and put it into the row there, and you can decide where you want the drawstring to go. You can see the holes here. That is usually the holes that I choose to go back and forth through to putting the drawstring. Go through, and then we come at this bit here where we are at the side. So this is sewn together, and I'm just gonna see what works for this one, and we're coming out the end here with this half double crochet, and I'm just gonna put it in here again next to the next half double crochet. So you're just gonna have to see how it works out for your rows. I feel like it sort of looks differently every time that I do this. Now we are at the end of this row, and I'm gonna pull the drawstrings together a little bit so they are even. They're pretty long actually, it's fine. So I'm gonna pull at this to create this knot here, and then I'm gonna make or tie another knot just at the end here, and I'm gonna push it with my nails so that I have the knot right there. Do it at this side as well. First I'm gonna pull it tight and then tie a knot, and I have the knot here. I'm just gonna push it next to this knot here, take it with my nail, sort of pulling it with my other fingers here and pulling it tight. So yes, snipping off the end. And then the last thing here is to take these chains, tie them together in knots like that, and the bag is done. I'm just gonna grab my Dreaming Way Tarot here to try and fit it. So this is the bag, and here is my Dreaming Way Tarot, and this is just standard US size, and there we go. It could fit a deck that is even a little bit longer, so if you wanted to fit tighter than this, you can shorten it by, I think, no more than 2 rows. So instead of going to row 40 when making it, you can go to row 38 before doing the second time the row of the half double crochets, if that makes sense. So that is the basic pattern of how to crochet a drawstring bag. Now I want to show you the variants. We did this one in unicolor, but you can also make a color block one. This one is in black and white, and it is made the same way with 3 rows of blossom stitch, then 1 row of half double crochets, and then for the color block part, what I did was I did 5 rows of the same color that we used for the frill here, and then we're going to change color, and then for row 10 till 35 you're going to do the blossom stitch in the new color, and then you get like at this part, and then you're going to switch colors again to the first one, and then you have row 36 to row 40 with the blossom stitch, then all half double crochet for row 41, and then for the last 3 rows you're gonna have the blossom stitch again, and then you're gonna sew up the sides. So for this one I recommend sewing up the sides with white yarn here and black yarn here, or depending on the color yarn that you're using. And then I like to do the drawstring with the color that is on the bottom of the bag because I like the effect that it gives. I've made this one in white and mint, yellow and pink, blue and red, beige and blue with another drawstring color, just random. And I've also made it in cotton yarn. So where the acrylic yarn is more stretchy, the cotton yarn has less give and it's a little bit stiffer. And this one I made a little bit wider as well. And the last variant I want to give is if you have this rainbow yarn. I already started a new project with it, but look at how fun this is. This is a rainbow colored tarot bag and I think it is awesome. So I love this. I'm definitely gonna make another one for my Etsy shop. So that is how to crochet a tarot bag with all the variants. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of these you are going to make, or if you have another idea based on the ideas that I gave. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos. I do mostly pick card readings, tarot chats, that sort of stuff, but I am planning on doing a tutorial for another crochet tarot bag, and only those who stayed tuned till the end of the video can get a preview of this. I only have to get buttons and sew them on, and then I can do the tutorial for these tarot bags, which are really fun. These might be my favorite, I don't know. I like the drawstring too. I feel like it's kind of my signature bag for my Etsy shop. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.